Hansemi provides insane healing, a revive, and even amazing damage buffs, making the Wind team much stronger. But also when you equip Hansemi with the 8 set effect of Burning Blessing, you're also going to make the Wind team much stronger, because with the Burning Blessing buff that this set will give, you can increase your whole entire team's damage dealt by 20% whilst also restoring their HP, which is very, very powerful. And then an alternative build for your Hansemi is going to include using the 4 set effect bonus of either Noble Sacrifice or Angel and White, because these can give loads of damage bonuses to your main DPS. With you then pairing those 2 sets with the Sylph's Blessing on the 4 set effect bonus as well, because you can increase your whole entire team's elemental weakness damage by up to 15%, which is again very, very strong. And like I did previously mention, Hansemi does have a huge amount of healing, which she does by utilizing her HP stat, which means for her helmet, her necklace, and also her ring, additional HP and HP percent will be the best main stats for those pieces, with additional HP I believe giving you the better increase. And then the final 2 most important pieces for your Hansemi for the main stats are going to be your bracelet, which is going to be wind damage percent, because of course she is of the wind element. And then finally your boot main stat, you'll either want to go for healing given increase, or you could go for HP percent as well, but I do prefer to go for healing given increase because you can get HP on your substat as well, so you can kind of get the best of both worlds really. Which then brings me on to all of her best substats, and HP percent and additional HP are the really only stats she ever really needs, which means when it comes to the rest of your substats, pretty much anything that can give you a ton of extra power, like critical hit rate, critical hit damage, even damage increase, defense pen, damage reduction, all of those stats are going to be very, very good for her. So then onto your Hansemi's very best cores, and for her mind piece, the only one she can really benefit from is going to be the Nameless Demon's Deception for the 20% increase in crit damage that you can obtain when you use your ultimate skill. For her body piece, the most important passive you can obtain from this is going to be the one you get from the Nameless Demon's Horn, because this will give you a shield equal to 10% of your maximum HP for 10 seconds when you use your ultimate skill, which would be very good for her as well. And then finally for her spirit piece, which is going to be the most important piece for her, you'll want to go for the Teeth of the Watcher, which does decrease your MP recovery rate by 10%, which again is a bit unfortunate. However, what it does then benefit you with is a 12% reduction in your MP consumption when you do use your skills, and with Hansemi, her skills do take up quite a lot of mana, so this will be very, very good for her. And then for the main stats for all of these pieces, additional attack, defense, and also HP are going to be your best main stats by far, but also HP percent can work very nicely. And then for your substats, it's going to be very similar to your artifacts and accessories. Pretty much just go for anything that can give you a huge amount of total power increase, which makes stats like critical hit damage, damage increase, even stuff like damage reduction are all going to be very, very good for her. So next up, let's talk about all of your Hansemi's very best advancements and what you should go for. And overall, she does have some very, very good ones. And to be honest, a really good sweet spot for your Hansemi is actually going to be just having her at A1, because basically she can apply the Sharp Breath effect, which is granted to all of your team members when they use their ultimate skill, which basically increases their crit rate, crit damage, and also charges their power gauge, which are all increased by 1%, with the crit buffs stacking up to 10% each. And the reason why the A1 is also the sweet spot is because her A2 only increasing her HP and her A3 only really giving you that revive and the immortality doesn't really provide too much value in, I guess, in actually increasing your damage for your whole team. So in order for you to increase your entire team members' wind damage by 10% through her A4, and also to utilize the natural unity buff through her A5, which increases your attack by 10% and also your wind damage by 20%, lasting for 25 seconds, which is granted to your whole entire team, it does mean you are going to have to end up investing quite a lot into her, which is why her A1 is a very good sweet spot for you to sit at a low investment. However, if you do plan on using your Hansemi a lot, then getting her to A4 or A5 is also going to be a must-have. But then with Hansemi also being a healer, with her skill level priority, you don't really need to level up too many skills for her, because in my opinion, the most important skill for you to level up for her is going to be Golden Meadow, which is her second basic skill, and leveling up this skill for her isn't going to be necessarily for the damage increase it can apply, but it is going to be because of the zone effect, which can recover mana for your whole entire team every 3 seconds, and this can go from 15 mana points all the way up to 22 mana points every 3 seconds, which is going to be very, very good for your Hansemi. And then for the final very good skill for you to level up for her is going to be her first basic skill, which is Sharp Sprouts, which again isn't going to be for the damage increase you get from it, but it is going to be for the HP recovery buff that she does apply, which does continuously restore all of your allies' HP, and this can go from 1.5% of Hansemi's maximum HP to the entire team every second, all the way up to 2.25% of Hansemi's maximum HP, so again, it's going to be a must level up. Which then, for the rest of all of her skills, you can follow the in-game recommended skill level up order, where you can get all of the rest of the information you need for your Hansemi. But it isn't only Hansemi's advancements where she does get damage increases, but it is also going to be through her exclusive weapon, which is called Coming of Age, and what this can do is it can increase her HP by up to 10%, but it can also increase the damage taken by 5% for 4 up to 10 seconds to targets hit by Hanseimi's skill. And where this weapon does have a lot of value is going to be in game modes like Power of Destruction and also Guild Boss, because this is going to help increase all of your team members' damage in teamfight content, which is all trying to stack as much damage as you possibly can. And with her having an exclusive debuff, she is going to give a lot of value in those game modes, which again does make her very, very good. Onto your Hanseimi's very best team, and she can be ran with many different characters, especially ones that do like to use a lot of basic skills, but of course her very best team is going to be the Mono Wind team. And this team is going to consist of Goto Ryuji, of course Hanseimi, and then finally Amamiya Mirei. And the best way for you to format this team is going to be having your Goto Ryuji first, your Hanseimi second, and then finally your Mirei third. So then your Mirei can benefit from all of the buffs that not only Goto Ryuji applies, but also that Hanseimi applies at the very same time. And when it does actually come to your Goto Ryuji's buffs, the best one he does apply is Arrogance, which increases the crit damage and also the basic skill damage by 20% of your whole entire Wind team. But then unfortunately it does increase your skill mana point consumption by 33%. However, the damage bonuses you get from this is really, really strong. And not to mention his A1 can also help increase the damage you deal in the break state. And then finally his A4 also does buff your third party members' damage. And also, if you did see my Goto Ryuji build guide video, then you would know that also Mirei is insanely powerful, especially when she does apply her possessed buff, which does help her reset her skill cooldowns and also help reduce the cooldown of them even further, which really enables your Mirei to really stay out and fight for such a long amount of time while spamming so many skills and doing so much damage. Your very best shadows are going to be a pretty easy no-brainer, because for your authority leader there's no really other better option than Big Rock for his up to 12% increase in basic skill damage, which is basically what this whole entire team does work around. And then the same is also going to apply for your support shadows, because as always Beru as well as also Serbi are your two very best supportive shadows, simply because of all of the debuffs that they do apply to your enemies. Which then finally leaves me with actually how you use your Hanseimi properly, and of course we'll be starting off using her QTE skill to bring her in from Goto Ryuji, and then for her actual skill rotation you'll want to use her first basic skill into her second one, which will completely activate her core attack, which will then leave you to use your core attack, so then you can then bring in your Mirei with her QTE skill, so then you can get all of the damage that you want to get off. And the reason we use her second basic skill after her first one is simply just because then your Mirei can benefit from the zone that she creates for as long as possible, so she can gain as many shields as possible and also recover as many mana points as she possibly can, because Mirei does drain a lot of mana points. So there you have it, that is my complete and updated build guide to Hanseimi. And overall, if you did enjoy this video or you just found it useful in general, then don't forget to like and subscribe. And also thank you so much to everyone for subscribing, because we have now hit 10,000 subscribers, so thank you so much, it does mean everything. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Peace!